Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. I want to throw this episode is not on the schedule, and you know the schedule if you're following for free on Locals because I post the upcoming episodes and stuff like that on there. But I just want to talk about FEMA because I think it's a very important topic right now, and I've got some insight on it. And I also have a problem with my eyes, hence the glasses. So, anyways, it troubled me that it felt like there was some propaganda going to it because it just looked so good for Trump that all of this was going so terribly with FEMA in North Carolina and especially in Asheville, and in Tennessee. And then now this thing's developing in Florida, and I think the response there will be much better, but that's more because of DeSantis and Trump working with DeSantis and stuff like that. And then Kamala Harris she gets on the news. She's on a show and she gets questioned about it. And she's like, no, don't believe what's going on in North Carolina. It's misinformation. Well, we can see it with our eyes, we can hear the pleas to help. And it just looks so good for Trump. I thought something's wrong with this. And I was just, ruminating on this in my mind. And I realized what's wrong with this. And it's not that the problem's not that it's so good for Trump. It is so good for Trump. But I realized that if Trump was in office, it would be so good for his opponent. Because this is not a Trump, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden issue here. This is an issue about the system. Okay. So the FEMA is the system in its field. And no matter who was president, it's going to act terribly because the system is terrible. And it's designed to profit very few people. And it's designed to not do what it's intended to do, to be as corrupt as possible. Okay, I'm going to show you a picture real quick of the leadership. I'm putting it on the screen of the leadership of FEMA. And you could have guessed that a lot of these names would have parentheses around them if you Google them. And this isn't even the problem. It's not like there's a bunch of Jewish people running that organization because there's Jewish people running a lot of the organization, as we covered recently in the overrepresentation videos where I went through the different agencies and stuff like that. But the problem is not with Trump, Biden, Harris. That's not some of them are problems in different ways, but problematic, we'll say. But the problem is with the system. And so just like any corrupt agency, it functions corruptly. So, for example, you look at some of the stories and they're like, okay, well, $750 aid per person. That's nonsense, obviously. You look at the story about the money going to the migrants and all of that. Of course it does. Of course it does. And that helps Trump too. But it's just working against the best interest of the American people like every arm of the system does. Or every tentacle of the system does, right? And so it's just completely unsurprising what's going on. So you look at even the stories of there was a guy with a helicopter and he was going up there and rescuing people and they told him, no, you can't do that. And people trying to bring supplies and they're like, no, you can't bring those supplies. We have to use our FEMA vendors. FEMA vendors means that they're taking kickbacks for funneling all the money through their suppliers, because why else wouldn't you want supplies? It just doesn't make any sense. No, send us the money, give us money. We'll buy the supplies from our vendors. It's just a huge hustle. And in the face of, my wife was really upset about this, honestly. She was reading these posts from these people and it's pretty tragic, and extremely tragic, actually. And the system is just not made to the system that we are in. And by the system, I mean, if you're newer, by the system, I don't just mean like the deep state or something like that. I mean the entirety, all of the organizations. Like FEMA is not part of the deep state, but FEMA is part of the system. The medical corporations, they're not part of the I guess they're part of the establishment. They're not part of the deep state, but they are part of the system when I'm using it. It's all the groups working in conjunction for the disinterest of the American people, right? And so I think it's interesting when you're looking at this story, not you can give Trump the credit because he's not in power doing the terrible things. But if he was in power, do you think it would be any different? Honestly, do you think it would be any different? So he promised he was going to drain the swamp. 2016, he ran on it. People voted for him, right? He didn't drain the swamp at all. No swamp was drained. Not even a half-hearted attempt to drain any swamp, right? Then in 2020, he runs on draining the swamp. It's clown world, right? What that election goes, how it goes, right? 2024, he's running to drain the swamp. It's insanity, right? Now, say he did get in there. Like if Vivek was running, you might believe him because he hasn't not done the thing that he's running on doing. Do you believe Trump would change it? I mean, do you believe that if Trump gets elected, do you believe that Trump has the power to change it? Do you think he even has the power? Because remember, in the Syria situation, he ordered the generals to withdraw troops. They said, sir, yes, sir. And they rotated troops. And if you look at it on certain pieces of paper, it looks like they're withdrawing troops. They weren't withdrawing troops. They just weren't doing what he said. He'll be gone in a couple years. It's okay. It's okay. And so does Trump even have the power to? This is just the system acting how it acts, which is at the disinterest of the American people. My entire point here is there's no solution within the system. You could pitch the Vivek scenario where he promised to cut 50% of government employees in 1 year, and I think 75% in 3 years or something like that. You could say maybe. But even a smaller system would still be corrupt, and it just, okay, there's no solution within the system. That's what I'm pitching to you. What do you guys think about it? I mean, it is definitely good for Trump, but it would be good for anybody who's not in power because the system is so terrible. So whoever is in power has the negative effect of their reputation from that. That's my pitch. What do you guys think? Put in the comments below if you do. Now, if you want to come join on Locals, I want to pitch this because I actually made an error on this, right? I told you all the content's free. You do not have to subscribe at all. And that is the truth because there's a content section and a content plus section. My content plus section will just remain empty. So you can view all the content on there. But I'm unfamiliar with the Locals interface. And I didn't realize that you can make posts to Withdraw Consent community. And you could pitch questions, bring up topics. You could do that, and I'll get on there and I'll put in my 2 cents. But you can only do that if you're a subscriber. And I did not know that, and I cannot change the setting on that. So if you're in there for free, you could still comment. So if I like to do these posts where I post like upcoming episodes and I show the episodes for the next week because they're filmed a week in advance so I can edit them and stuff. You could go on there like if you got episode ideas and you could just comment on that post, for free. And you can like and you can reply and all that. But you just can't create a brand new post to the community unless you're subscribed. Can't change that. Sorry. Kind of misled a little bit, but I'm just trying to get used to Locals. I like it. It's interesting. If I can get people over there, it would be great, for free. I mean, if you want to subscribe, you can. But I'm just pitching. I've even gotten like emails and said, hey, well, where else can we go to continue the discussion? Do you have a Discord, this and that? I'm not a fan of Discord, And this is easy. Locals is easy. Anyways, try it out if you want to. That's what I got for you. Hope to see you next week.